Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Blizzard ANZ Season 4 qualifiers for Heroes of the Storm here in the ANZ region. It has been a fantastic season. It's been a great night so far. We're getting ready for the next match. But while we get the players into the lobby, I'm going to head on over to the robot over here. And I'm going to push the button and do the draw for the next loot chest code. So if I can just find where the robot button is. There it is. And hit that close button. And congratulations to Drawn Dan Sam. So he is a follower, or she is a follower, who knows. So congratulations, you pick up the loot chest code, and Evexium will give you instructions on how to actually collect that. But thanks for following, and thanks for watching tonight. So we're going to get into game number 2 of Darksided versus NMD. The match is going to be Dragonshire, and Skimmy, I think we're ready to go. All right, fantastic. Over to you. Dragonshire.
No, really does not. And Dragonshire, yeah, it's really coming back into favour. We saw it fall out a little bit of favour when we saw Infernal Shrines being the #1 map of choice down here in ANZ, but looks like it's back. And I think a lot of the love for it was reawoken due to the addition of it into the Hero League map rotation.
Yeah, and I mean, it's good to see, because we used to have like Infernal Shrines, and hey, guess what? Probably Infernal Shrines. But now we're starting to see a little bit of variation with teams opting out of the norm. Still no StarCraft love, Braxis Holdout and Warhead Junction definitely not seeing any love and any light in that regard. But Sky Temple and Battlefield of Eternity seem to be the new maps that everyone hates on in ANZ.
Yeah, the ones that everyone hates on. It's got to be one map, Warhead Junction, Braxis. We could just cycle them. But I know poor Hanamura copped the biggest flack out of them all. And so we never got to see its debut. Garrosh, once again, being the first chosen. If he's not being banned, he's definitely being tucked away by the team. And Robodoba, he was quite happily playing that one last game. He's going to be wanting to look for a repeat. This time as well, they do get the Greymane on the side of the NMD boys. So they were able to do work, but there just was not enough damage in their team comp, I felt, last game.
Yeah, 100%. And this is actually an interesting variation. They're going to go for the Rhaegar this time instead. So they're going to say, look, knowing how NMD play, what we really seem to lack in that mid to late game was the sustain. If these fights were quite progressive and quite intensive, we just couldn't survive through all the damage. So we're going to have that extra wave clear, the Ancestral to boot as well, plus the sieging potential, more damage, because as much as Ufa looks like a paladin, his mace doesn't really hit too hard.
No, it really does not. I'm just looking, and Malthael and ETC are the next 2 picks on the board. So Malthael, he was doing a lot of work by Assassin. He's too good, people feel, especially on Dragonshire, where you want to win that solo lane so you can put pressure on other aspects of the map, because with the winning of that solo lane, you can control that all-important shrine and channel forth the Dragon Knight. ETC as well, the mosh pit, if you can land it and set up, you can do some great damage, not damage, but set up for the rest of your team to do some great damage.
Let's see what they decide to go for now. Obviously, a really cool interaction would be Malthael and ETC, the mosh pit, the Tormented Souls, the absolute dream, everyone dancing, everyone dying. I mean, what kind of party does that sound like? It sounds like a party which I'm probably not invited to, but Malfurion and Arthur's band away. Support and tank once again playing into the hearts of Darksided. They hate the Alphas, they love the Alphas, they don't want to see the Alphas. Now 2 picks for those boys to play around with. I mean, if you're looking at what you can see from the side of NMD so far, you've got percentile shredding, big time, between 2 heroes. You've got the mosh pit to secure the targets, to guarantee the Reaper Mark application or guarantee that cursed bullet. You're thinking we need some form of interruption or some form of potentially even just wave clear, but Darksided aren't really known for that wave clear factor.
Darksided, it's all about fights for these guys. So let's see what they want to add to their roster. Picks that they really, really like to roll with. I mean, they do also have the Tychus once again. Demise is quite a fan. We've seen them also play the Genji. Sashin, he'd let us like to play more of that bruiser or warrior type role, as Robodoba's flexed more into just solo being his only tank. So there's the Tychus again, and followed up by a Gul'dan, so I believe he'll be Hacky on that one, and he's quite confident to play that one. It's all about mages with Hacky, isn't it? If it's not Chromie, it's going to be, we just saw Jaina, now this time Gul'dan. Let's see what he can bring to the table. He's got that Horrify as well.
Absolutely. I mean, this guy is literally like the Mene from EU of ANZ. He only plays mages. So this guy's an absolute god, and that's why he gets respect on these certain picks. But I actually really like the Gul'dan for a number of reasons. Obviously, you got the cleave damage that comes across these members that you know are going to run into your face, be it Greyman, Malthael, and ETC. So Fell Flame, not to mention Corruption, going to do a lot of work. But the Horrify, it's such a good way to disrupt those three heroes individually and as a collection. So a lot of pressure on him to do work with that one. But that's the Sturkov that we know and love NMD for. Once again, going to bring it to the table, making their 4-man incredibly strong, rounding that one out with the Li Ming for the burst damage. This time, Vandy, they have a lot of damage at their disposal.
They're not packing or not holding back. They're packing a lot of firepower. And the Stukov with the ETC, I imagine we could see some cool players coming out. They managed to do the Leyline Mosh. We could see some lurking arm on top of Mosh for the sweatiest of plays, Skimmy, to borrow that one out of your book. Last pick now on the side of Darksided. They need to go, they need to go something that can either, if not just win the solo lane versus Malthael, be able to give them some global pressure and rotate up to potentially help Malthael, or help whoever's laning against Malthael win the lane. So I like that Farstad pick.
And this is cool. I mean, this is the adaptation that we actually got to see a little bit of Darksided flirt with last week, where they said, look, we're going to try and adapt and expand our style of play. We're obviously really well known for being aggressive, but we want to try and say we can play clear, we can play global, we can flex depending on who we're versing and what is required of the situation. And in this case, they need someone that can deal with that Malthael. And what better way to say, if we can't win the lane, at least I can fly on in and make that fight in the other section of the map a favorable one.
Constantly put pressure on him and stop him from winning the lane, much like the tactics you'd employ against a Dahaka or anyone that really crushes their solo lane. You need to make sure that you're keeping tabs on them and locking them down. Game number 2, let's see. NMD, they almost managed to sweep away Darksided last game. Can they do it this game? Let's wait and see.
That is really the big one to ask right now for NMD. I say they've got a composition very reminiscent of what we saw last game, with a few tweaks here and there. And now we look like we have a composition on our hand that really shouldn't struggle as much in the early game. But all eyes on Darksided, the favourites in this matchup. They've gone with the Garrosh once again. I think this is a hero we're going to see a lot of from these boys, unless there's a significant change in the balancing of that hero. But Ashen, you really want to see what he can achieve with this Falster. I haven't really seen him play Falster in quite a while.
Yeah, I haven't either. I was just thinking back, like I said, more seeing him on those bruiser type roles where possible. Even was expecting a Sonya. The Arthur that he likes to play did get banned out, but Dahaka was still on the board, someone he's quite fond of as well. Let's see what they do. Robodoba as well on that Garrosh. I mean, the big talking point of that is teams prioritizing Garrosh because of his displacement ability and the lockdown that he can bring, exactly like that, with physics getting taken out.
Good night, Li Ming. I was just going to say the 1 through 9 should be really in favour of NMD, with the aggression to bounce off from the ETC. And just like that, Robodoba says, well, do you want to reconsider that statement there, Skimmy? I'm going to show you what's up. And easy first blood, but potentially a second in the top lane. It is indeed 2 members and 2 easy to pick up another kill.
Nice trade on the side of NMD. Good recovery. Lots of damage coming out to their front wall. Look at that lurking arm, though. That's where Stukov can really benefit on the defense of a siege, as well as when you are trying to siege. If you put that lurking arm towards that middle gate area, anyone in melee range, you run the risk of just being silenced out completely when you try to go in for sieging.
You actually raised a really good point there, Vandy. I mean, both these teams have fantastic siege, but also fantastic anti-siege. The defense, with the flips, with the damage, with the control. It's going to be quite exciting to see how these teams respect that aspect and how they play around it. As we do reach that first shrine phase, it is going to be Darksided capitalizing on the bottom lane for the meantime, but Sashin on that Falstead has to be so careful. I'm not too sure if he's going to want to prioritize the clear to beat at the Malthael, which he is at the meantime, but he may just opt to try and go for these kills and fly on in to try and force those fights.
It's a tough lane for Vicarak. They're almost very, very even. It depends on if Vicarak can make sure that when the Wraith Strike lands, if he dishes a lot of damage, Lightning Rod needs to be able and up for Sashin to be trading on that Malthael. So tricky lane up, should value the Falset a little bit more because of the clear. You clear the minions and you can get that push happening a lot faster than Malthael can.
And you see Darkseid actually really reluctant to try and force this fight here. They respect, obviously, what NMD have, as I mentioned before. ETC with the power slide, easy setup then for both Leeming and Greymane to collapse and kill. And they really have to play around Robodobo. Whenever he can get that Groundbreaker off, if he can try and displace somebody like he did on Physics to get the first blood, that's what they need to play off. They need to scale up, they need to reach at level 10, and then we can see them unlock their true potential.
Garrosh, he can be a bag of frustration to verse and really need to respect that Groundbreaker, because look at this, Lahal gets flipped. There is luckily Ice Ball there to bail him out, but the damage is done. He falls.
The spray on the ground is giving him the thumbs up, saying cheers bro, nice kill, easy play. And yeah, I mean, Iceball went for the power slide. Physics could not connect with the Arcane Orb. They couldn't get any retaliation, any return pressure to try and persuade Darkseid to leave. And potentially looking for another one. Oh, Groundbreaker does not connect. But let's turn our attention to the top lane, looking at that matchup. It's a 1v1 duel right now. Session up against Vicarak. He's bodying all day long. Heki rocks him up to the party. Vicarak's in a bit of a dire situation. Is he just going to be able to mount away?
Think so, but Sashin's trying to poke down the harass. He wants that kill on Vicarak. He's going to get it. Yep, he does finally get it. Very close though. If he had Memento Mori, Sasha would have fell in the process. It's not level 16, however. So luckily, Haki, the reinforcements, it has the desired effect. With Vicarak falling, that's going to be a small wave of experience that he loses out on.
He really, well, and as you mentioned, actually, yeah, the adaptation in the build is going to mean he's better at dueling, but less in dealing the damage. So we'll have to see how that one progresses on through the game in terms of definitely the Tormented Souls aspect that we were discussing. But here it is, Sashin down to the bot lane as we thought would happen. He's looking to cause that fight, but he is met with a lot of damage. Forced to back away as Haki rocks up to the lane as well.
Yeah. Oh, Haki. Every chance he can. I mean, as a Gul'dan, you're going to spam out those Fell Flames, get the damage happening. But he's so low in the process. As you know, you need to use that mana tap, the life tap, to get that mana happening. On the side of NMD, they are holding their own. I mean, there's not too much. Yes, they've suffered a couple of kills here and there, but the experience, it's nothing to, you know, go home or nothing for us to really brag about at this point.
I mean, the big talking point for me personally, Vanny, would be the fact that the sustain is all in favour of Lahal. Stukov can just out-sustain with the heals all day compared to what Rhaegar can do. He's got one good spread at level 4 as well, which gives him all the heals. And that's all it takes. Yes, Gul'dan did die, but the dragon has picked up NMD. The very first one of this game.
NMD played that one very, very nicely. Vicarak had pushed out that lane so hard, Sashin did not even have time or did not want to prioritize trying to cap back the shrine. So almost they let this one go for free. And that's a lot of because of the lane pressure that came out. Dragon, Hiccup, he's just running, not connecting with anything, but I like the way they've divided their attention as well. Dragon Knight in the middle will send everyone in the bottom to siege, and that's what you can do with the objective, because if you're clump up, it can be all the more... It's either or. It can be harder to siege or better. It depends on how, I guess, how it suits your composition.
And one good thing, actually, that was quite forgiving is Session didn't really have to put his attention to the top lane because Malphia isn't really known for his sieging potential, not the best at pushing the lane, so he could try and focus on that dragon, get it as low as it could, and, you know, force it to go to the top lane. Obviously, that 4-man rotation for NMD working really, really strong right now. They've already taken down those towers, so the dragon does not even need to go there. And as a result of this dragon's impact, those towers in mid lane have allowed them to establish a 1-level lead, well on their way to unlocking those ultimates.
Now we can brag about the experience lead that's starting to happen with NMD well poised to take out that level 10 first and potentially force a fight if they want to play aggressively. Take a leaf out of Nomiya's book. As we see Nomiya, they become a totally different team. Once they get a little bit of that lead, once they hit level 10, they immediately look for the fight.
And that they do. Knights and Giants picked up. Giants' response in the bottom lane as well. Physics, biting off a lot of damage, but he does have the dominance at level 4, so they want to force those fights. 10 is there. So expect him to become aggressive as Icebolt is on that mount. He's looking for the power slide. He just goes straight on in. He doesn't have a care in the world. Mosh Pit is not even taken. He's gone for the stage dive.
So he values that global so much more than locking up the Mosh, and maybe as well it tells of the game he had last game where he just wasn't being able to carry off those Moshes, or if he was, there was no follow-up. He only got one decent Mosh and there was no follow-up. Then after that, it was always being interrupted.
I mean, I think you have to ask yourself the question. He knows what he's looking at. Yep. Warlord's Challenge, Horrify, and Gust. There's no reliable chance for him to use it. It's essentially a dead button, so why not use the stage dive? I can try and collapse on members that are running away. I can keep the split push pressure up. I can try and mirror what Faustus is doing, in this case Session, as he's looking for those fights all day long. But they're all in the bot lane looking for it. That's the stun, that's the death. And the Horrify to follow up as they go for a return kill. See you later, ETC.
Yeah, I spoiled. I mean, with the job done, they did not even have a chance to recover. Hacky wasted no time, dropped the Horrify. They got the trade of kills. So it just means that NMD, they're not able to capitalize as much as they want and continue to seek out more kills because they're down a team.
Shrine phase spawning in 10 seconds. But I mean, that was as much chaos and action we've had in this game to start things off with, and it was over before we could even begin to get started. Vikrak back to the top lane. And he's going to keep Session in check, making sure that Global cannot find any value as they begin their dominance. NMD back in the spot lane. And they want another dragon to establish and try and get the series back to a 1-1.
So although I was saying NMD, they had a small window to force the aggression, did not face Darksided at all because they were not far back. They were only about half a level behind them, essentially. So they weren't afraid to stay aggressive, stay in the lane. Stage dive coming in now. Demise is the target of choice.
Oh, Ancestral, honestly, milliseconds away from collapsing, but it's just so well timed by the boys from NMD to make sure that kill connects. Gust is used, but Session just runs away. He literally cannot do anything with it. Moops, he tried to get tossed away into the fray, but no, tossed into an orb, and well, Vikrak is just having his own party. He's like, I just want to kill people on my own, and Hacky falls to the grave.
Oh, I love that. I mean, is that a mouthfeel pun? Falling to the grave right there. Robodoba! He's being silenced, and the ticking does the job. That's the power of mouthfeel stack. Reaper's Mark Hiccup convincingly takes the Dragon Knight, and they're looking to push, get some more value happening. With 13 being acquired by NMD, they now have that talent advantage that we always, it's so desirable. And why it's so desirable? It's entire talent. You're literally getting an advantage over your opponents.
And people always say in ANZ that Vikrak died for this. Well, in this case, Vikrak lived for that one. So he's bringing home some damage. He gets the kills, and he makes his old roster know what they are missing on. A second dragon picked up by NMD, finishing off what they started in the mid lane. They take down the fort. The tower's already gone. Well, Physics, though, he's been caught out, but thankfully he's leaming. He has that blink, and he teleports to safety.
Physics says, see ya, mate. Luckily, he is a hero with mobility, and that can be the trap of Garrosh as well. You really want those immobile targets to have no reliable escapes. Otherwise, yeah, it's just wasted cooldowns. It looks flashy, yep, but your team's not able to collapse.
Session has got to be careful here. There's no other member of Darksided to support him. No globals, no nothing. Barrel is already being used. Gust has to be burnt as well. That's huge. 60 seconds on that cooldown. And, well, if NMD look to force a fight with these giants, we talked about the sieging potential before. If they look to try and force a fight with this, there's no Gust to delay it.
No, their cooldown's been burnt, so they need to watch out. NMD, they are well aware of this. They don't really care about the pressure that the Knights are bringing so far away from their structures. They're knocking on the keep. They want to see if these sieges can help them get some push happening and break down this front wall. They don't want to overcommit, however, because they are aware Session's flown up to the top lane. That's the global that they're keeping checks on. Vikrak is doing a great job of answering that push every time Session starts to mount one.
Yeah, the anti-siege coming in trumps there, but no forced aggression from NMD, realizing they don't really have any clear or big advantage to really abuse. Okay, they still have a level and a half lead. Let's not give that one up. Let's just reach level 16 and let's just play this game slowly and concisely. And it's going to take a few members to try and clear out these Knights in the top lane. As we mentioned, yeah, Vikrak as Malphia won't have the best wave clear. But it's essentially clearing out the mercs, clearing out the minions, getting the XP, and playing into this next shrine phase where level 16 will be unlocked for NMD.
And that's when things can start to get really interesting because 16, 10, 20, they're the most influential talents in the game. Stage dive, opening things up. Robodoba's their target choice is isolated.
They're not even going to wait for level 16. They just want to force these fights all day long. So many cooldowns burnt. Literally every single thing except Odin and Flaming Swipe. Tormented Souls in the back line. And he's soul ripping. He's got the slow. He's got the potential to 1v3 right now. Rocks up and says, hey, Rob, what are you doing here? And everyone down to 300 health. They just don't have the attention nor the ability to get it. But Vikrak, he might actually fall on down. The bait, the chase, all so meaty and juicy. But he doesn't get the stake.
That was the flip that Robodoba wanted. That's exactly what I said. Those immobile targets, Vikrak thought he could maybe do a tricky raid strike, get out of harm's way, but the towers were firing on Nexus forces. MVP. You'd want to look at your death recap for that one.
And they pick up another Dragon Knight as a result of that 116 now picked up. What a chaotic set of events. I mean, they just said, look, we don't even need 16. Let's just force this fight right now. And it wasn't as clean as you'd imagine, but now they have a lot of pressure in the spot lane. Arguably the best the best lane to push this advantage with. Knights, minions, and a dragon. 12 minutes into this one, it is going to pack a punch. Potentially not keep threatening, but definitely opening up that win condition for later in this game.
It is opening up. It's more that constant pressure, and they've chosen to siege with their Dragon Knight, but this is where I said things can get a little bit awkward. So what I think I'd like to see them do is be decisive and perhaps leave the Dragon Knight to be some bait, go to another lane and try to find some value there.
Yeah, wouldn't mind if they actually just went through mid lane and just pushed those towers down as well and giving them two different opportunities, two abilities to then close out that win condition with. But right now they're just all running around bot lane, not really doing too much. That 16 advantage they have, it's slowly whittling away, and with 15 still in favour of Darksiders, they just can get a kill for free onto Greymane.
Yeah, it was a lot of indecision going wrong for them there. Stage dive had to be used, but it does whiff against Ashen, who's able to barrel roll away.
I mean, look at that. Vikrak is going to use the Tormented Soul, still looking like I've had enough of this one. He wants to try and force the fight. There's no Gust available. Session has already used that barrel roll. No, he hasn't. It just comes up in a nick of time. And, I mean, this is going to be a trade that Darksiders started without 16, and they come away winning.
NMD, they just had a lot of indecision there. They were wasting so much time. They were scared because they knew the moment that they tried to go in range to siege Robodoba, that's that threat of that Garrosh, and that's what happens with the flip onto Greymane. Warlord's Challenge coming out, enough time to lock him out. Hacky as well, that beautiful Horrify to make sure that there was going to be no rescuing. I mean, yeah, Darkside played that one to a T. NMD, perhaps feeling the pressure, they just wanted to group up. They were like, alright, they try to force something great, but what did you do there? Not a whole lot.
As we approach the 14-minute mark, we're all even now on the kill count. 8 kills to 8. And the XP now slowly starting to catch up for Darkseid. It was a huge lead. At one stage, I believe it was like 2 levels. But now it is very negligible as they go for those golems, looking to try and get some giant pressure in that bot lane. Still obviously in favor of NMD. The fort is still healthy and it is still standing. So one fight will do it for them, and they can re-establish that lead they had built up for such a long time. But yeah, definitely scary times. It's almost like the deja vu moment of flicking these games across and saying, no, you had a strong early game last game, we do as well, but let's now just have a weird and wacky mid to late game.
Yeah, we wake up in the late game and we're going to take it to you. So that can be the aggression that Darksiders can bring in. I think NMD, they played themselves a little bit. It's not the be-all, end-all, as you said, because they still managed to capitalize the objective. It's more that they didn't really get any value out of the objective. That's what I think hurt them in that last push.
We're in the top lane. 2 members of NMD collapsed on towards Session. A Gust had to be burnt away once again, but it's whether or not they can try and force anything with this. Giants are pushing for free in the bot lane. You'd imagine that's where Session is going to clear things out. Can they force a 5v4? I don't believe he's used Flight. No, he hasn't, so it's still available if he needs to try and join on in. Shrines are active. Every single dragon has been won so far by NMD, but Darksiders, after the back of that last victory, are looking to change those.
Physics gets the sneaky ninja cap before retreating off to his team, but Demise is in the Bermuda Triangle. He's got that vision, and it's anticipating those rotations as well, raiding your team. With all of the NMD members positioned on the top side, Darksiders, they're aware of that.
That they are. Stage Dive comes across, looking to force the fight once again. Icebot says hello, Robodoba, and goodbye to you as well. Horrify comes out, but it doesn't do anything. Flaming Swipe saying, we do not want to force this fight. We got the kill. Let's get out of here. Waste the Odin. We don't even care. You can see NMD just running away saying, look, we got Knights pushing top. Let's just go down to the bottom lane. What can Odin do? We just burnt down cooldowns and we've got kills.
Look at that shot calling coming from NMD as well. They say, we want Robodoba dead. This is the target of choice. I would love to see Robodoba's death recaps because they would be insane. I said they had firepower at the beginning. They were like, sure, we were short of damage last game. Let's see it now. Sashin, he does fly to the top lane, denying or slowing the cap. But the damage is done. Robodoba is still respawning. Hacky doesn't even have time with his Horrifies to react. That's how fast he's getting blown up.
And that is the ability when you have 2 tank shredders like they do between Grandman and Mouthfeel. So definitely drafting to understand what Darksiders respect. But it's another dragon. And another dragon in favor of NMD. Let's see what they can do with this one this time around. Are they going to put all those eggs into the basket for the bottom lane? 20 is on the approach for them. So they could look to go for the end if they get the kills with this keep down. Or do they go for the split pressure and go for a mid as well?
Let's see how they play it this time. I think they knew and realized indecision was the death of them. Let's see if they can do it better this time. They are waiting on Tormented Souls, however, to be up. 20 seconds until that's back online.
Speaking of 20 seconds, that's when Odin will be up as well. Keep just goes down like butter. Easy peasy for them. 20 is unlocked as well. Now, how do they play this one? They're going to go through the mid lane. You can see they are looking for that fight at the same time. Session goes, look, we need 20 if we're going to try and do anything, because they're going to force this fight. As soon as this DK is down, Hiccup's going to jump on out, and he's going to look to get some kills.
That's the Dragon Knight. That's the push that they actually want. The decision that time netted them to keep. This time they're getting great value out of the objective. They're being decisive. And as you said, they're very aware that Hiccup will be the one that pops out, so wanting to make sure that he's not in an awkward situation when he comes out. They're ignoring Sashin for the meantime to say, push, we don't really care. It's more about seeing if we can force anything after this. They're aware that it's currently a 4v5, but he can join at any time.
You can see how scared Session is, realizing like, okay, I can see all 5 members there, but you know, they could always rotate at any single time. I'm not going to be able to take down these towers nor this fort, so why take the risk? 19.5, make that 3/4. We are so close to level 20. Let's not just give it up for free right now. But NMD say, with those catapults, let's get some giants in the fold as well. We're going to take away yours. We're going to go grab ours and potentially even go for the knights as well for one strong push in the bot lane and potentially game winning.
Sashin's been a living word for a couple of minutes now, if you will. He's watching, waiting. He needs the members of NMD to show where they are, so he's got that vision, like you said, to safely carry out the push. He does not want to be picked off, not at this point. That's giving up that global pressure.
Level 20's unlocked now, and that's going to be a big one for them. A lot of amplification on all their DPS, as well as their kill execution window. Death Wish for Garrosh, meaning that Warlord's challenge goes on for another 0.5 seconds, bringing it up to 2.5 seconds. Such a huge window. They get that kill. That cooldown essentially is reset for free as well. So, Garrosh can die quickly, but he can also make others die quickly as well. And you have to wait and see what they decide to do with this one. I mean, NMD are in the driving seat. This is their game to throw.
Their game to throw sounds so ominous. I'd like to say I also like the poise and control coming out of Darksided when they knew they were so close to 20. That's also why Sasha was playing so carefully. They knew they did not want to get rid of a member. It's just giving up the advantage. When they can now fight on an even Storm Talon advantage, this is the fight that they next won. But this is very much NMD's games. With Darksided, they have not even yet managed to breach that front wall yet of any of their defenses.
Yeah, I mean, not a single fort has fallen right down for the NMD lads, and that's been a big reason that they're so far ahead in XP and the ability for them to command these dragons. Next Shrine phase spawning in 5. They're going to go for the Knights, keep some pressure in the top lane as it escorts its way to that Death Bridge, keeping Session occupied, keeping him busy, as he's not really been able to get too many gusts off that can find any insane value that we've come to grow used to with that hero.
No, he's been quite passive because there's so much damage coming out either onto him or his teammates. He's had to use them very defensively. I did see him positioned for that aggressive gust down below in one of those bottom team fights, but then he had to use it defensively once the members of NMD knew it was up. There's Odin now coming out from Demise. He's looking to lay down the siege onto Hiccup and laying down a nice little bit of chunking.
Yeah, Darkseid mean business with this one. Gust comes across, Iceball jumps in with a stage dive. Tormented Soul's doing work right now, but it's just not going to be enough. He gets feared, he gets dead. He is down. He was literally 1v5ing right now, and NMD may have potentially thrown their chances, delaying inevitable, because now Darkseid can look to try and do something with this, potentially get the first Dragon Knight off their game. Level 20 is where we had to wait for it to happen, and that's where they succeed with.
Darksided, they turned up and they showed a totally new way of approaching that team fight. They knew that it was going to be Robodova, always the target of choice. This time the Gust meant that there was going to be no more follow-up. They did get the damage, sure, but that was enough seconds for the Ancestral to connect this time. With that, Vicarek down, he was locked up so long in Warlord's challenge. Yes, they still can, chase them around. They're not going to force a fight, but they'll be looking to force a fight. It needs to be NMD that play this one very carefully.
Yeah, especially when you don't have a Divine Shield nor a Forcible. You just cannot afford to play like that. 1v5 in a situation that you have all the sustain in the world with the build you've gone for, but it's just not going to be enough. But that looks like Garrosh is taking a lot of damage in the face. He does fall on down. ETC forced to use the Boulder Storm to make sure that he is not another casualty as Garrosh Fausted flies on in. And Session cannot find their value. He was looking to hunt for that window, that chance for them to try and go for a dragon. It's looking possible. Demise is going to try and begin the channel. But with that 4v5 situation, surely NMD can look for more.
Great recovery by NMD. There's almost another kill. They do get it. And a cheeky B-step as well. With Icebolt, Stage Dive was up. Hacky forced to use the Horrify again. Physics has no mana.
I was just going to say it's like a 1v1. A 1v1 where Majors with no Mada and Hacky goes, watch this, bro, life tap, and he goes to the turnaround, and Physics is like, well, I can't really contest with that. Runs away. And not going to look for that fight anymore as they see, wow, fight still progresses in the mid lane. Hiccup, has he spotted Session? No, Session actually, at the very last second, forced to cancel on that reset. But, I mean, this is what they need. They get 2 kills, and that punishes them. They can go for a Dragon again.
Back away, not today. That's what Sashin's saying, as well as Physics when he teleported in. I was like, that's aggression to a whole new level, running as a mage. And as I said, so impressed with how NMD turned that one around. They were down, remember, but they read that one like a T. They saw that Sashin actually went back, and in those few precious seconds, they blew up Rogue Durban, knowing fully well that the Ancestral was not online at that time. The death times being as they are, I mean, Moobsy will be coming back now onto the battlefield, but this Dragon Knight, with the scaling that happens, he's going to be quite chunky and also punching for a lot.
This fight right here dictates the game. This Dragon will literally just go and hit this core and single-handedly take it down. They need to find some kills, and find kills they do right there. They go for Physics, but he gets away on 350. Tormented Souls right now in the backline looking to do as much as it can, but that core is falling right now. Vanny, this is very much looking like a 1-for-1. 50%, the fear is there. Is that bought enough time? Can they get any kills as a result of this one? Flailing Swipe. Lahal trying to peel, trying to secure. Gust! Everything being chucked at this core. The core falls, and we're going to game number 3.
Oh, great recovery by NMD, and I really like Lahal's flailing swipes at the end there to really back them away. That's because of the 20 Storm talent that he took, and it just got so much work done. We could see he was so controlled about it. Controlled chaos, actually controlling that last team fight right there. Great stuff, NMD. Great comeback.
And we thought this would be the upset of the night. This is a game that poised to be really in favor of Darksider, but NMD have shown up. They've gone for a very different composition. When you have some damage, hey, surprise, people actually die. So they get their kills, and the coveted Garrosh pick hasn't really worked in their favor here. Really awesome to see. So going into game number 3, we will get that ready in just a second, but for the meantime, back to Crisis.
Hey, thank you guys, and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Well, sorry, not welcome back. Well, that's the game done and dusted, 1-1, and so we'll be going to a third to get a result for NMD and Darksided. So don't go away. We'll have a 3-minute break, and we'll be right back with the draw for the next loot chest code.